When you live with health anxiety like I do, you tend to obsess over every little thing your body does. A flutter in the chest, a sudden wave of tiredness, a little dizziness when you stand up too quickly. Each of these can feel like the beginning of some major disease. Over the years, I've learned that one of the best ways for me to calm those fears is to get very intentional about my health habits. If I know I'm giving my body what it needs, I feel more secure. One area that has really helped me is paying attention to vitamin B12. B12 is one of those vitamins that most people don't think about until they're deficient, but when you understand what it does, you realize how critical it is. I'll admit, when I first started reading about it, I thought it was just another supplement that wouldn't really make much difference. But as someone who struggles with energy levels and with anxiety that amplifies any sensation of fatigue, it became clear that B12 deserved more attention in my daily routine. B12 plays a major role in the production of red blood cells, which are the cells that carry oxygen throughout your body. If you don't have enough, your body can't move oxygen efficiently, and you end up feeling drained, foggy, and weak. For someone with health anxiety, those symptoms are terrifying because they can mimic all kinds of scary conditions. A low-energy day can spiral into hours of worry if you don't have an explanation for it. But when I realized that B12 directly impacts energy levels, it gave me both a practical tool and a sense of reassurance. One thing I noticed about myself is that fatigue was often the trigger that sent me down an anxious rabbit hole. I'd wake up tired and immediately start asking, why am I so exhausted? What if it's something serious? But when I improved my B12 levels, those mornings became less frequent. Instead of spiraling into anxiety, I had more energy to get up, move around, and start the day in a healthier frame of mind. Energy doesn't just mean being able to run marathons. For me, it means having the mental focus to get through work, the physical stamina to play with my kids, and the resilience to handle stress without feeling like I'm collapsing. B12 fuels that by supporting nerve health, brain function, and energy metabolism. When your nerves are firing correctly and your red blood cells are doing their job, your whole system feels more stable. That stability helps me cut off anxious thoughts before they gain momentum. Now, one of the tricky things about B12 is that it's not something your body produces on its own. You have to get it from your diet or from supplements. It's found naturally in animal products like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. For people who eat a fully plant-based diet, B12 deficiency can sneak up quickly. I'm not vegan, but I realized I wasn't always consistent in getting enough of those foods. Skipping breakfast, grabbing fast food, or going through phases of cutting out red meat meant my intake was probably all over the place. That's when I started looking into supplementation. At first, I tried a standard multivitamin that included B12, but honestly, I didn't notice a big difference. It wasn't until I added a standalone B12 supplement that I really felt the change. Within a few weeks, my energy felt steadier, and the brain fog that used to make me question everything started to lift. It wasn't some magic overnight transformation, but the gradual shift made a real difference in how anxious I felt day to day. There's also an interesting connection between B12 and mood. Some studies suggest that low B12 levels can contribute to depression, irritability, and even memory problems. For someone with health anxiety, those symptoms are like gasoline on the fire. If I start feeling down or mentally scattered, I can spiral into worrying that I'm developing something catastrophic. Making sure my B12 is in a healthy range gives me one more safeguard against falling into that loop. I don't want to make it sound like B12 is the cure-all for health anxiety. It's not. I still have to work on my mindset, practice relaxation techniques, and remind myself that not every sensation means danger. But what I've found is that when my body feels stronger and more energized, my mind doesn't have as much material to catastrophize. A healthy baseline helps quiet those irrational fears before they get out of hand. Another thing I noticed is that when my B12 is in balance, I sleep better. Poor sleep used to make my anxiety much worse. I'd wake up groggy, then worry about why I was so groggy, and then spend the whole day trying to chase energy with coffee while feeling like something was off. B12 supports your nervous system in a way that helps regulate sleep-wake cycles. When I'm consistent with it, I fall asleep more easily and wake up feeling rested. That alone has been huge for lowering my day-to-day anxiety. Of course, the flip side is important too. You can take too much B12. It's water-soluble, so your body usually flushes out what it doesn't need, but that doesn't mean more is always better. I personally stick with a daily supplement in the 1,000 microgram range, and that's been a sweet spot for me. I'd always recommend checking with a doctor and getting your levels tested before going high dose, especially if you suspect a deficiency. For me, having that confirmation from blood work gave me peace of mind. It turned a vague anxiety into a concrete problem I could address. Health anxiety thrives in uncertainty. If you don't know why you're tired or why your brain feels foggy, your mind fills in the gaps with worst-case scenarios. Understanding the role of B12 gave me a rational, evidence-based reason for symptoms that used to terrify me. Instead of spiraling into, what if it's something deadly, I can now tell myself, maybe I just need to make sure my B12 is on point. That shift alone reduces the intensity of my anxiety. I also like that improving my B12 intake is simple. I don't have to overhaul my whole lifestyle overnight. I can take a small supplement with breakfast, or make sure I include eggs and salmon in my meals a few times a week, and I know I'm covering my bases. For someone like me who wants to do everything possible to stay healthy, that feels empowering. Looking back, I wish I had started focusing on B12 earlier. It would have saved me countless hours of unnecessary panic. But the good news is that it's never too late to make changes that support your health and your peace of mind. Now, when I think about energy, I don't just think about coffee or willpower. I think about what's happening inside my body at a cellular level and how I can support that process. That knowledge makes me feel calmer, more in control, and less vulnerable to the constant what-ifs that come with health anxiety. So if you struggle like I do, and you're looking for a practical step to take, consider checking your B12 levels. Pay attention to your energy, your mood, and your sleep. Notice whether you're eating foods that naturally contain B12 or whether a supplement might make sense for you. For me, making B12 part of my daily routine has been one of those quiet, behind-the-scenes changes that improves everything else. It doesn't make my anxiety vanish, but it strengthens the foundation so my anxious thoughts don't have as much room to grow. I still have to remind myself that no single vitamin is going to guarantee perfect health, but knowing I'm supporting my body in this way gives me confidence. And confidence is one of the strongest antidotes to health anxiety. The more confident I feel in my choices, the less power those anxious thoughts have over me. At the end of the day, energy isn't just about powering through tasks, it's about how you feel in your own skin. When your energy is stable, you feel calmer, clearer, and more resilient. For me, vitamin B12 has been a key part of unlocking that balance, and the more balanced I feel, the less health anxiety controls my life.